History happened everywhere. A random place, a random time, and a topic pulled from the hat. The challenge: find the fascinating, uncover the unexpected, and share the stories. You're listening to History Happened Everywhere. Hello everyone, my name is Ryan, you're listening to History Happened Everywhere, and in the studio with me, my good friend and correspondent from around the world, it's Mr. Peter Goddard.
Hail to thee, Ryan Weir.
Hail to thee. So Pete, you know it's July.
It is.
Right, you know that means it's summer.
Allegedly, yes.
Right, you know what you do in the summer?
Picnics?
You read my mind. It's
No way.
National Picnic Month.
Oh, no way!
Yeah.
Oh, I love a picnic until I get there. And then I realise there's ants and creatures all over the place. And then I think, why did I bring so many sugary things to a place where flies and ants that like sugary things?
I was wondering if there is going to be a National Dipnic Month.
And what, pray tell, and I feel like I'm going to regret asking this, is a dipnic?
Well, this was raised to me only this week, in fact.
I'm so nervous.
A dipnic. It's where you only take foods that you can dip.
Ah,
So, hummus and celery sticks,
right.
peanut butter, salsa,
Okay, so if you did a low-fat version, it would be a
Yogurt.
skinny dipnic.
a skinny dipnic. Exactly. Yeah, it's exactly right.
No, I do like dipping things. I'm not going to lie. Particularly a chip. A chip and salsa is one of my favourite things to dip.
Not double dip, though.
Well, what is double dip?
Where you dip it, you eat a bit of it,
Right.
and then you dip again.
Oh
using
no,
that
I'll
same
double dip.
thing that you
I will double dip, my friend.
You have just lost a lot of listeners. This is a whole Seinfeld episode about double dipping.
Well, I will double dip because I'm in my house on my own. There's no one else here. I'm not talking at a buffet.
I don't want your mouth. In the COVID years, what are you doing double dipping?
I'm double dipping at home. Why are you fiddling with my delicious dip?
No, you can do it at home.
That's what I'm saying. Well, I know I'm not going to do it at the dipnic.
You better not do it at the dip.
No, I'm not a social double dipper. I'm a private double dipper.
Okay. You know, like at the end of a picnic, or a dipnic, and you've got your little blanket laid out.
Yes.
With all the foods and everything on it.
Yes.
Have you ever been tempted to just do the magician thing and just pull the blanket out in one go? One swift.
No, because
yank.
I think the merest casual thought about it will reveal that there's not a smooth surface under the carpet, and you will fling your dipnic utensils across the park like a lunatic.
Well, hopefully you will have polished off all of the dips that I've provided.
Well, I probably would. I'm a greedy so-and-so.
Clearly, with your double dipping.
Double dipping like crazy. But yeah, no, I'm not coming to your picnic, Ryan, because you have so many rules and regulations.
But you get to see the magician trick at the end.
I don't really want to see you toss litter across a park, which is what I think would be the net result of what you refer to as your magic trick.
Fine, be that way.
Fine, yes, that's what you'll get for littering. £125 in the park, mate.
Right, look, enough of this nonsense. Everyone have a lovely National Picnic Month.
Yes.
In the meantime, we're going to get down to business.
Yes, but where and when?
And
Why?
topic.
No, I shouldn't really ask why, should I?
Okay, so let's find out what the Dersolator selected for you last week.
All right, let's go.
Now, as with previous episodes, the first round draw is location. The Dersolator is humming away in readiness. Krampus, would you mind giving the button a good hard press and let's get going?
Okay, John, the location is Senegal.
Senegal, well, that's the first time that the plucky African nation has been selected by the Dersolator. The Pope, would you mind pressing the button to select our time period?
But of course, my child. And the time is Bronze Age. That's 3000 to 1300 before our Lord Jesus Christ.
Okay, a second appearance there for Bronze Age, appearing first in episode 12, Science in Turkey. And finally, Krampus, would you please desolate the third section and give us our topic?
Okay, John. And the topic is flight.
Interesting, that is the first time that we have seen flight in the competition so far.
Yes, John. I hope will be entertaining, like the slaughter of innocents.
So there we are, flight in Senegal during the Bronze Age. That's 3000 to 1300 BCE. So
Before Jesus Christ.
thank you, gents, for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Senegal. It's exciting. Back to Africa.
Back to Africa. Yeah, I'm excited about this. It's Africa is frequently a challenging topic just because it's often underreported. But I'm quite excited about today's Feast for the Senses.
Yeah, nice.
So it's the Republic of Senegal.
Okay.
This is a name that derives potentially from the Portuguese transliteration of the name of the Senegal.
I feel like you've spoiled the surprise by saying from the Portuguese.
Well, is it a surprise?
Okay.
It might be a combination of the Serer people, the religion's supreme deity, or it might come from the phrase Senegal, which means our boat. So I guess one of the stories is that somebody came and went, "What's the name of this river?" Pointing to the river, and they went, "That's our boat." In one of those classic colonialist moments.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what I took from this was no one really has any idea where the word Senegal comes from, or certainly there are so many theories that I'm not convinced it's clear.
Okay. All right.
So, where is it? It's in Africa, as we've discussed.
Yep.
Africa, picturing Africa in your head.
Yep.
You've got a sort of a horizontal bit bulgy out at the top.
Yes.
And then a sticky down bit.
Yep.
Right. You're in the bulgy bit at the top on the left-hand side.
Okay.
It is, in fact, the westernmost country in the mainland of Afro-Eurasia.
Ooh.
So it's as far west as you can go in Africa on the mainland.
Right, okay. So, borders the sea.
Very much so.
Nice.
The official language is French.
Okay.
But it also has lingua franca, as they say, of Wolof, which is a tribal language.
Wolof.
Yeah. There are tribes, a bunch of different people there, but including the Wolof, the Fula, and the Serer people, who we will meet a little bit later.
Nice.
And yeah, so it's like about 2/3 of the way down the bulgy bit of Africa, way on the west. It's got a country called Mauritania to the north. It's got Guinea and Guinea-Bissau to the south, Mali to the east, and Gambia on the inside.
Gambia's on the inside of Senegal.
Yeah, so it's got a maritime border with Cape Verde on the west, and it's got Gambia on the inside.
Okay, you're going to have to explain how that works, because
Yeah.
what? It's like an island
It's-
inside of Senegal.
Almost. It's almost an enclave, as Paul Dursley, I think, has talked about previously. But so you have the country of Senegal, which is sort of a chunk on the coast of Africa. And then in the middle, more or less, of Senegal is a river called the Gambia River, I think. And if you take a strip about 10 kilometers either side of that river, all the
Right.
way up to the end of the river, that is the country of Gambia, wholly enclosed on all sides bar the sea by Senegal.
Oh, what? How does that ever happen?
Yeah, it's a bit of a mystery. This ribbon of a country that's at its widest is only about 50 kilometres across, and its narrowest about 20 kilometres across. And like I said, it's got Senegal all around the outside. So you often hear people talking about Senegambia, which if you just put them both together, you've got what looks like a normal country.
Right, yeah.
And that's known as Senegambia.
Senegambia.
Yeah.
Cool. Do they, I mean, we're perhaps straying into the Gambian territory, but do they have the same language? Do they share similar
Yeah, I
traits, or are
mean,
they
I
very
think-
distinct cultures?
The impression I got in my small amount of research was they're very much similar places. Right?
Okay.
They have similar tribal makeup, similar background. They're French colonies. And so, yeah, it seems to be fairly similar.
Okay.
So, Senegal is approximately 196,700 square kilometres. That is 35% of a France.
Yeah, I was going to say it sounded small.
Yeah, it's relatively small, especially for that area where you've got these enormous countries.
Yeah.
But not a lot of people, 16 million people. So slightly more than a third of size, but 16 million people versus 67 million in France. So it's quite thinly populated.
Yeah, no, that is small.
It's not tiny, but it's not gigantic and thinly sparsely populated.
What's it like geography-wise?
There's a mix of some mangrove-y type stuff on the coast, some wetlands. There's savanna, so it gets drier and dustier. It's just underneath the Sahara Desert, basically.
Okay.
So it's just where you start to get greenery again after having been through the desert, if you manage to make it through. So I would imagine you'd like to listen to the national anthem quickly?
Oh, you know I love the national anthems. This is probably my favourite national anthem
This is
yet.
a cracker, isn't it? I really like this one. And you're going to like it more in a minute.
That was almost the Paul Dursley song. I'm going to play that in a minute. Can I just play the bit that I think sounds like Paul Dursley song?
Mm-hmm.
He's the judge, judging all of the things we does.
Anyway, right.
Well, we'll get this. The lyrics to that were written by Senegal's first president in 1960. He was a poet and philosopher.
There is an argument to be said that all our leaders should be philosophers.
There is this
And
philosopher
poets.
king, right? That's a very strong argument. But it's got great lyrics. It's like, everybody strum your koras, which is kind of African stringed instrument. Beat your balafons, which is kind of xylophone. The red lion has roared. The tamer of the bushland has leapt forth in a single bound, dispelling the darkness. Sun upon our fears, sun upon our hopes. Rise, brothers, for Africa has united.
I love that.
It's cool, isn't it?
This is the best national anthem we've had.
I really dig one. There's also a really nice line in the middle of it, which is, the Bantu is our brother, as is the Arab and the white man.
Oh,
So
nice.
it's a unifying kind of a feel, which
And the white man.
it's an inclusive thing. It's a place that's for everybody, is what I keep coming across. And the final line, I want to share was, we say yes to death, but not to disgrace.
Oh, I thought you were going to say not today. But
No.
not this day.
Flag-wise, it's a green, yellow, red, Pan-African colours with a green star in the middle. Mali next door is the same flag without the star, actually. So these are the classic African colours you see, which is a phenomenon we saw in Singapore as well, where the neighbouring countries had very similar flags because the sort of meaningful colours are sort of culturally similar.
Yeah, although they have a purpose, a flag, which is to be easily identifiable. And if everybody's looks the
Yes,
same...
it's slightly confusing.
It really is, because I'm looking at it and it kind of looks like the Jamaican one.
Yeah, I concur with that for sure.
A
There's
number of different flags.
Yeah. So the capital city is Dakar, which you may have heard of.
What's Dakar?
It's right on the west. It is on this little promontory, this westernmost tip of the country, and it
Okay.
is the finishing point of the Paris-Dakar Rally.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have heard of that.
So that was a race that was conceived in 1979, which was basically across the Sahara Desert and was
Yeah.
a really tough race.
Was that the one that Thatcher's son got lost on?
I'm not sure. He definitely got lost in the desert one time, so quite possibly.
I think it was that one.
Hello. This is the voice of the internet. Mark Thatcher, the son of British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher, did enter the Paris-Dakar Rally. Prior to starting the race on the 9th of January 1982, Mark was quoted as saying that he had done absolutely nothing to prepare for the rally, but that it would be no problem. Unfortunately, there was a problem. Because Mark, his French driver and their mechanic went missing for a total of 6 days in the Sahara Desert, having wandered 50 kilometers off course. Upon his rescue, the UK Prime Minister paid £2,000 towards the cost of the mission to find him. Thank you.
Language-wise, French for reasons that will be obvious soon, if you haven't guessed already. Also, Wolof, Pula, Serer, Kangan languages, Jola languages, Portuguese, Creole. In fact, there's over 39 distinct languages in Senegal. And this is, again, the legacy of colonialism, where maps are drawn. Look, that's a country now. And it's like, well, there's loads of different people here.
Yeah, but even so, you'd still think, I mean, it's been over 100 years, right? You'd think within 100 years, a lot of those languages would have dropped off.
Yeah, I guess it depends how widely you're mixing. The main languages are Wolof and French.
Okay.
Mostly Islamic country, 95% or so. And the currency, I thought this was quite interesting, is the West African CFA franc. Now, this is interesting because it's actually the currency of 8 different states in West Africa: Benin, Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, Guinea-Bissau, Mali, Niger, Senegal, and Togo all share this one currency across their area, which I thought was an interesting...
Yeah, I
that's
wonder
the
what the
euro for Africa, I guess.
I guess so, yeah.
Really good surfing there, apparently.
I mean, you know I love my surfing.
You're a massive fan, I know. You're always hanging loose. It's got 7 World Heritage Sites.
That's a lot of World Heritage
It's a
sites.
heck of a lot of heritage, I would say.
Oh. I mean, what's the average for a country, do you reckon?
I don't
One?
know. There's normally a couple, but 7 seems like a lot.
That is a lot, yeah, for such a small country.
One of them is less thing to be pleased about, which is a place called Goree Island, which has a history of, it's the island where a lot of slaves were set off on their journey,
Oh, right.
including a door that opens out onto the sea known as the Door of No Return.
Wow.
It's also famous for having one of the tallest monuments, like statues in Africa, the African Renaissance Monument.
Okay.
It was built
What's it of?
I think it's a man and a woman and a child, or certainly a small group of people.
Right, okay.
It was made in 2010 by a North Korean sculpting company.
North Korean?
North Korean, I guess they've got a lot of practice building massive statues.
Okay.
I guess it's, if you want a gigantic monument, go to a place where the dictators like to put such things up, I suppose.
Yeah, I suppose so.
So, can you name any Senegalese?
Oh, there's going to be some footballers.
There are a lot of footballers. I only wrote a couple down, but
Give me some.
El HHE Diouf,
El Hadji Diouf, yeah.
Patrick Vieira.
Oh, my goodness, right, okay. I mean, I consider him to be French, but he speaks French, so that's probably why.
And musically, Youssou N'Dour.
Don't know that.
He is very famous. He did a song called 7 Seconds, a duet with Nina Cherry back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Just as long as I stay,
There you go. That is 7 Seconds with Youssou N'Dour. The other thing is it's known for, it's got this concept called teranga. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but hopefully. This is kind of translated as hospitality,
Right.
but it's a bit bigger than that, really. It emphasizes generosity of spirit, sharing your material possessions with strangers even. Not quite to the extent of our...
yakka.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just giving out everything if you ask for it. But traditionally, everyone eats from a large bowl or plate together, and the best part of the meal always goes to the guests.
They just don't double dip.
But they would not double dip, I'm sure. Youssou N'Dour actually said he's got a song about it, which says, someone who comes to your country, when they arrive, welcome them, honour them so much that when they leave, they will want to return.
That's awesome.
It's lovely, isn't it?
I'm loving Senegal so far.
So part of hospitality is they have a drink. It's you will generally be welcomed in places with a drink called bissap. This is made of the hibiscus flower, which is common in the West African region. Actually, as a drink, this hibiscus drink, you can find it all over the world, actually. I guess in Caribbean countries, it's common as well.
I think Mexico?
All over West Africa. So it's called lots of different things in different places. But in Senegal, particularly, bissap is considered the national drink. Mm-hmm. And to make bissap, I think I've spotted the secret to bissap here, which is you take the hibiscus flower and you sort of boil it up a bit and then it cools down. And then you add an absolute stack of sugar.
Right. Yeah.
And everyone has their own personal bissap recipe, I guess. So some people have mint or vanilla and they put different flavourings in.
This sounds delicious.
Instead of sugar, you can use honey. And that's what I did because I've brought you some.
You made some?
Yeah.
You made some?
I've made some. I have made some with my own bare hand.
Wow, okay.
So let's give it a go.
I mean, yeah, absolutely.
So you were probably wondering why I gave you that glass of ice. So you'd have
I was wondering.
Nice bissap on ice. So if you just fetch your glass, we'll do this.
All right.
Okay. So I kept this one simple. I just added honey and
There's a lot of it.
The hibiscus. So let's try it.
All right. Do you need to mix it first or?
No, that's it.
It's done.
This is what it is.
All right. Get it in there. That's a beautiful colour as you poured that.
It's a nice deep ruby red, isn't
it? Yeah. Yeah. It's not a strong smelling thing, is it?
I think that's why I've read that it was quite bitter, so that's why you put a lot of sugar in to offset that. But let's shall we give it a go? Cheers
to Senegal.
Senegal.
Oh, I got a big mouthful. It's syrupy. It's got
Oh, it's quite tart as well.
It has got a tart. It's a bitterness to it. It's got a tea-like flavour to it. That's delicious.
No, I quite like that. Well done, Senegal.
Well done, Senegal.
Okay. So that is the country as it is today. I'm going to take you on a whistle-stop tour of the history, although we are going back to the Bronze Age.
Okie doke.
So, as with African history in general, a lot of blanks that we don't know because of oral traditions and not a lot of recorded history necessarily. We know there are a bunch of kingdoms that were created around the 7th century. Takrur was created in the 9th century. In the 13th and 14th centuries, the Jollof Empire was created in this area.
Them of the rice?
Yes, absolutely. Jollof rice is very famous in Senegal as well. It's considered very much a national dish as well.
Okay.
Mid-15th century, somebody arrives from Europe, and it is
The Portuguese.
The Portuguese. They were followed quickly by the French, though. So actually, the Portuguese didn't have much impact because in 1677, the French gained control of the island of Gorée, which is that World Heritage Site, which was the slaving port, essentially.
Okay.
They basically was in the colony of the French until 1959, when Senegal and the French Sudan merged to form the Mali Federation. They became independent in 1960. That federation lasted just a couple of months, basically, and it broke up 3 months later. So June, the Mali Federation was created.
Yeah.
August, Senegal went, no, we're out. And Senegal and what was Sudan is now the Republic of Mali became independent and separate. Leopold Senghor was our philosopher poet who becomes the first president, and pretty fairly peaceful and democratic from then on, actually.
Okay.
We've had some quite difficult countries to cover where it's been quite violent and upheaval abounds, but Senegal has managed to keep it pretty stable. So that president lasted till 1980. He retires, transfers power peacefully to his successor, a guy called Abdou Diouf. Diouf, is that how you pronounce it?
Diouf, yeah.
1999, they have an election. The opposition guy wins. Again, it was an election that was deemed free and fair by international observers,
Wow.
which is another thing that we often haven't seen in previous African histories. And then in 2012, the incumbent president lost, and a guy called Macky Sall was elected, and he is today's president. So that's Senegal. Actually, quite a calm history, really.
Comparatively, yeah.
But our task is to go back to 3000 to 1300 BCE.
Yeah. Why is it such a broad topic?
It's such a broad topic because those are the years that are generally considered to be the Bronze Age.
Okay.
Now, here's the interesting thing that I found out, which is a pointer to how Eurocentric our learning is.
Yeah.
There was no Bronze Age in sub-Saharan Africa.
Oh, wow. Okay.
What basically happened was they went from the Stone Ages, of which there are sort of middle, late and early, straight into use of iron.
With the introduction of Europeans, or
no, the iron. There is plenty
just
of
skipped the
evidence
whole
to
bronze
suggest that. Yeah, they totally skipped the bronze thing. There is plenty of evidence to suggest that some of the earliest iron making actually in the world was in Nigeria and this region more broadly. And so yeah, the doing the Bronze Age actually didn't happen in sub-Saharan Africa.
Wow, okay. That's really cool. I don't know why we say the Bronze Age then to talk about the world.
Well, it's one of those things that it's very much a thing. It marked out a certain uses of technology, but it's very much a European thing, and somewhat into Asia as well. But you know, the way we're brought up, you just think the Bronze Age is a sort of global phenomenon, but
yeah,
it
just
actually
globally everyone discovered bronze at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's just not the case. They just in Africa, they went, yeah, I'm going to wait for the iron. Actually, it sounds better.
Just wait. Yeah, okay. Wow.
So, and part of the problem here is obviously sub-Saharan, that the Sahara is a real barrier to the transfer of ideas and goods, and tin is quite rare anyway. So iron is easier in many ways because you only need iron ore and then you're off and running, right? We're not combining things that don't necessarily live together.
It's a shame you can't do much with sand. They could have had the Glass Age.
With
the Sahara,
massive abundance of sand. It's like, we can use this stuff.
Just we'd rock up there, the Portuguese turn up and they're living in these giant double-glazed pyramid buildings.
I don't know, man. Is this greenhouse an excellent idea in West Africa?
Yeah,
you look
good
hot.
point.
Yeah, a little bit. Oh, dear. So my topic was flight. Now,
Yeah, I'm so intrigued to see where this goes.
yeah, regarding the discovery of a Bronze Age helicopter, there wasn't one. I was rather hoping for some
Hot air balloon?
Nobel Prize for my findings, but no, none of that. So
There must have been like a hot air balloon or something.
must there in
All right.
3,000 years ago?
Hang glider? Kite?
No. Again, all
No
this
one's
stuff
doing a
was
kite.
even our earliest records are like Da Vinci, aren't they? That's thousands of years after this period. So we have to look to the birds, don't we?
We do.
So I googled the birds of Senegal, and the first result to come up was the ostrich. Well,
right.
that doesn't help me much with my flight topic. So thanks, ostrich, but no thanks.
I think that still fits. I think that's cool. The ostrich, all right. The non-flying flight bird.
But actually, Senegal is something of a paradise for birds in general, and there's a couple of reasons for that. But just really quickly to talk about how the climate was back then, there's a thing called the African humid period. This is when there was wetlands of vegetation across the Sahara. Sahara wasn't a desert at that time. I think we've covered it before.
In Algeria episode, yeah.
So the African humid period ended about 5,000 or 6,000 years ago. So that's really tipping into where we're going. But fundamentally, it was before our period. So I think we are safe to assume that environmentally, it's fairly similar now to what it was then, and we don't have to worry about the African humid period.
Okay.
So I'm going to go with, it kind of looks the same as today, and that's going to include the birds, right? But one of the reasons it's a really good place for birds is it's right on what is known as the East Atlantic Flyway.
Really? Okay.
Which is, this is a migration route for Arctic migrating birds. So there's basically it's a stopping off point. So you fly, you're a bird. Imagine you're a bird. You fly across the Sahara and then you go, right. One of the earliest stopping off points you're going to find just across the Sahara is wetlands in Senegal. So Senegal is a major spot for this. It's really good for bird watchers today. And so you can imagine that it was equally good back in the day for these birds. So it's got wetlands, it's got desert scrub as well. So there's a real variety of environments for birds. And it's a really nice bus stop on this Atlantic Flyway. It's got about 700 species of birds. And I'm going to fill the time by listing all of them.
All 700. The next 3/4 of an hour of this podcast.
End of podcast. So a third of these birds are winter migrants, so they just visit on their journey. And the spotted redshank is one example of a bird. This one travels 6,200 miles to get there.
Is that like round the world?
10,000 kilometers from Russia.
Wow, that's a long way.
Right, so in northern,
presumably it stops along the way, right?
Yeah, it's going to stop off for a snack every now and then.
Okay, because there are some birds that fly forever, right?
Yeah, some of them never land, don't they? But I don't know, but I think the fact that these guys are stopping off here, I suspect and some of them are big as well, so they're going to need a lot of energy.
Those birds that don't ever land, how come they haven't evolved to not have legs?
That's a good question. They must land sometime. Does anything really fly all the time?
Am I misunderstanding evolution?
No, I don't think you're misunderstanding evolution. I think I'm not sure. We'd have to look into, get the voice of the internet to say, is there truly a bird that never lands? Because I would agree with you that a bird that never landed would have no need of legs.
Yeah. Is there a bird that doesn't have any legs? Like a weeble? Like those little wobbly clown things you can push over and they wobble straight back up?
I'm going to say no. I'm sure the voice of the internet will back me up. Back me up, lady.
Side note, a weeble would be a good name for a bird.
A weeble? Yeah, a lesser spotted weeble.
Yeah.
The common swift spends nearly all their life in the air and almost never touches the ground. They cannot land on flat surfaces because their wings are too long and their legs too short to take off. Instead, swifts spend long periods in the air and only occasionally land on vertical surfaces which they can grip with their feet. While there are no birds which have evolved without legs, hummingbirds have very small legs and feet and belong to an order of birds called epodiforms, which is Latin for footless. In fiction, however, the mythical bird called the martlet is described as having no feet, never roosts, and is continuously on the wing. Thank you.
Right, so in northern Senegal, one of the UNESCO World Heritage Sites that I mentioned, there were seven, is this wetlands that's a stopping off point for these birds. It houses 1.5 million birds when it's fully occupied.
Wow.
You can find African spoonbills, cormorants, pink flamingos, great egrets. I guess the less great egret doesn't get there, who knows? You are a great egret. You are a great egret. You're charming, you're funny, you're capable, and gosh darn it, people like you. You are a great egret.
Hello, Mr. Less Great Egret? We're ready for you now. If you had access to 1.5 million birds, you could use that as a resource as well.
Yeah, so you tether your birds to a string.
Right, and off you go.
Yeah,
like James and the Giant Peach.
Yeah, exactly. I'm absolutely certain that happened all the time in Bronze Age Senegal. People they'd just be flying around all over the place. I don't know how they lost the technology. That's one of the great mysteries of the universe.
Unless they don't have any legs to tie your cord around.
I'll loop it around his little chubby body, wouldn't you?
Just ask it to hold it in its mouth.
Beak. You have to first learn how to speak with the birds.
Yeah.
It's a challenge. But I'm going to talk to you about pelicans. I had to pick a bird because I thought if I list you 700 birds, you're not going to be happy.
Can before you start though, can I just say that pelicans make me feel really queasy?
Yes.
Because I've seen that video online where it eats a pigeon.
Yes,
and
they will do that.
It like alive, and the pigeon's trying to get out of its mouth.
Yeah.
And you see it in its little. It makes me seriously. My throat is closing up thinking about it.
I have a link to that here if that's of interest.
Did you? Have I jumped ahead?
You have.
Yeah. Sorry.
But yeah, these are very big birds. They've got the second largest wingspan of a bird.
Horrible things.
It's just behind the albatross. These are white pelicans in this area, but their babies are actually black or grey.
All right.
Then they go white as they mature.
Okay.
Apparently they fish together in groups, so they're quite pally. And they're famous, obviously, for the big pouchy, bulbous pouch under their bill, which is called the gular pouch.
The gular pouch.
Gular pouch. It's not used to store food, which is, I think there's a poem or something that says that's where it keeps the food, but that's not the case. Huh. It's basically it's used like a fishing net to scoop up things from the water.
So it pushes the water out and keeps whatever's left.
Yeah, so it contracts and sprays out the water, and it then swallows all the fish that it gets. It can hold 3 gallons in that sack.
Wow. What's that in English? Pints?
5 litres, I don't know.
5
maybe,
litres?
or something like that.
It's a lot, isn't it?
Oh, yes, it's significant. And yes, they do eat things other than fish, including pigeons in London Zoo.
Were you going to show me a link of the pigeon?
I have the link here, but I wasn't going to show it to you. I was going to mention it. I was going to mention the incident. But you foresaw this.
It's really horrible.
So when they fish, they also sometimes form hunting parties. So they kind of line up in a U shape and kind of flap towards the middle and drive the fish into the middle, so they can scoop up the fish either in shallow areas or just in a sort of nice little dense pocket. So they're quite smart.
How thick do you think the gulag is?
It's got to be quite robust, hasn't it? Because if you can trap a pigeon in it, then they're pretty vigorous little creatures, and fish aren't going to just sit there waiting to be swallowed, are they?
No. And do they have a crop like regular birds, do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. They do have toty palmate feet, which I thought was interesting, and then I found out that it just means they connect all of their 4 toes. A lot of wading and aquatic birds just have 3 toes connected with webbing, but it goes all the way round.
They have 4?
Yeah. There are other birds that have that, including cormorants, gannets, and boobies. Yeah, I only kept that fact in so I could say boobies.
Yeah. 5318008.
Exactly. That's the calculator classic from elementary school. So in medieval Europe, it was believed that when food was scarce, a mother pelican would stab themselves with their beaks and use their blood to feed their chicks. So the Christian artists really picked up on this as a motif. So you'll find pelicans in medieval Christian art.
But like with most of these things, how did that ever come about? If they don't actually do that, who saw that for the first time and thought, well, that's a thing? Or they just made it up? Or
one of the theories I read was that they were just seen preening, so they're sort of
like birds
pecking
do
at themselves, but how they didn't think, well, there's tons of birds that do that, and why the pelican got this particular rep, I don't know. Maybe just one had a wound and it just looked that way.
It looked that way, yeah. It's funny though, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then that becomes like a whole big thing.
Goes viral. So I'm going to talk about nostrils just because it's so amazing that the internet has things, including a video called "Does a Pelican Have Nostrils?" Right. As if this was something that was on everyone's mind, but it was on mine by that time. Right. So they do have nostrils, but it's covered over by a bony material because it actually houses a
mouse.
No, a glandy thing that filters the salt out of their blood so that they can drink seawater.
What? They drink seawater through their nose?
No. They can drink seawater, and that you intake a lot of salt like that. Yeah. And they have a filter in their, well, not quite in their nostril, but involving the nostril that filters the salt out of their blood so that they don't die of salt poisoning.
Oh, I don't quite understand the biology behind that, but okay.
So
sure.
you drink a lot of salt.
I believe it.
It goes into your blood. Your filter takes it out. It's kidneys for the salt.
But why is it in the nose then?
It's evolved that way.
Okay. Fair enough.
Evolution.
Yeah, I guess so. It just seems an odd place to put it.
This is an intelligent design. Why did you put that there? I suspect it was spare space that...
Yeah, I guess, maybe.
So it's not a nostril at all. So does a pelican have nostril? Yeah. Yes and no.
Why do I want to know what it tastes like?
What, the pelican's nostril?
Yeah, the nostril filter.
That's probably quite salty.
I'm actually crunchy. Like in my mind... like a kind of honeycomb.
I would so want to reach into my bag and well, as it happens, Ryan, I have a pelican nostril right here. But unfortunately for me, I did not manage to purchase online
it's like
nostrils.
It's like got air holes in it. I'm imagining like a honeycomb.
Just inventing pelican organs.
That's what I imagine it would. The texture would be like, were you to find a dead pelican, because I'm not killing one to taste it.
No, obviously.
But,
you're just going to find a roadkill pelican.
Prize that out with a little penknife.
Well, I'll keep an eye out on the side of the road for any pelicans that might be deceased.
Sort of oval shaped.
I might drop on London Zoo an email and see if they can help us out.
Yeah, like if one dies.
We're just going, look, guys.
What are you going to do? Just throw it away?
Exactly. It's only going into the trash anyway, right? In the recycling.
Really salty. Nice, tasty snack.
All right, so we are now a pelican and we are going to take flight across Bronze Age Senegal and we're going to fly across the landscape. We're going to go south. We're going to go south until we come to the Saloum Delta, which today is a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
Of course it is, yeah.
This is an unspoilt mangrove swamp.
Okay.
It's about 120 kilometers south of Dakar, home of a group of people called the Serer people. And you will see here, well, actually you won't see much here. You're just going to see mangrove swamp to start with. But what you will see if you landed, you might see the start of some shell middens.
Shell middens.
Shell middens, M-I-D-D-E-N, midden.
Okay.
So a midden is like a dump, basically. It's a kitchen waste heap.
Oh.
Right? So you see in Shakespeare time, you'll hear them referring to a midden as a sort of insult.
Okay.
It's an old dump for domestic waste and it's usually bones and shells, right?
Right.
So
who's leaving it?
Well, here's the thing, right? So back in the day, you wouldn't see these things being very big because there's not many people. I'm assuming there are people even, and we're not totally sure. But anyway, these shells are left behind when people get mollusks, like snails and oysters and things like that. So these things today are massive. So in this area, you see these massive piles of ancient chucked away shells, basically.
Okay.
So what happens in these areas is a lot of calcium carbonate in these shells. So it makes the middens themselves alkaline, which reduces the amount of decay. So you can find stuff in it. So archaeologists love a midden because its stuff's preserved, plus the midden itself tells you something, and you can date the shells in the midden as well.
And these are discarded by humans?
These are discarded by humans. So they figured out that shell middens have been constructed in this area for at least 5,000 years.
Okay.
In this same area, people have been doing more or less the same thing for food. Back then, they would have been tiny heaps, and now they're absolutely huge, effectively man-made islands of all this disposed away stuff. Yeah, absolutely. So at first, they weren't even believed to be man-made. They were considered to be natural. It was only in the 30s that when someone went, hang on, this is just stuff people have been chucking away. So in the Bronze Age, they were probably quite small, but they've been growing for hundreds and thousands of years, and they're still used by the Serer people. They have fishermen called Neominka. They were studied by the archaeologists as well to see how they do their shell collecting today. So pretty much they think life hasn't changed that hugely in literally thousands of years. So it's women and children's job to collect shellfish whilst men go out and actually fish. And they go out, they actually set up temporary villages for these things. They're mostly the rather unappetizing sounding bloody cockle and the mangrove oyster. And there are some other shells, but mostly they're these two, the oyster and the cockle.
Can you imagine 5,000 years of discarding?
5,000 years. Well, that's how you get these things so big that they're effectively small islands and trees grow on them. And
I don't know why I'm into texture today, but I kind of want to walk over an island made of shells.
I kind of want to do that as well, but I suspect probably disappointing. But one of the problems that archaeologists have in Senegal, I was reading this archaeologist paper, he's like, it's very difficult because the locals think you're mad because you're literally digging through rubbish.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And they have an oral tradition primarily. So this notion of digging through rubbish to find stuff out is crazy because you just ask your storyteller to tell you the stories of the place. And actually, the archaeologists are considered frequently to be mad, definitely considered to not be respectable profession because you're just digging through the garbage and manual labour as well on top of that.
Yeah.
So one of those guys said, and people keep offering me new pots for the pots I found. They're like, you're that desperate for a pot that you're digging out of the rubbish heap.
They think they're keeping it to use
a new one.
That's great.
So one of the things they realised about these deposits, they're all single species, and this made them conclude that actually they were shellfishing for trade rather than food, because where they found villages where it was a feed yourself kind of midden, you'd catch all sorts of different creatures and your waste area would be quite diverse. But because this is single shell, they think this indicates that it was actually traded, which means obviously people, sophistication, population sufficient to transport goods. Shellfish are very good because apparently you can dry them quite easily and they become a nice portable food. So they're quite good at being preserved. I'm not going to chance it. So yeah, this indicates actually a quite sophisticated setup with trade, not just people living hand to mouth, as it were.
That's a fairly common thing that we've discovered through doing this series, though, isn't it? That we imagine just because it's 5,000 years ago that people were sitting there banging rocks together and trying to string words together. But the reality is that this was a hugely interconnected network, international network of people that just didn't happen to have our modern luxuries.
Completely. So I said these get pretty big.
The shellfish or the people?
The middens.
The middens, yeah, the islands.
Yeah. So one of them, Diorum Bumak, is 250 metres by 450 metres and 12 metres high.
Wow, that's a lot of them.
That is substantial. And this grew 10 metres in less than 700 years, in the sort of the years 500 or thereabouts to about 1200, which suggests about 1.35 million cubic metres of waste.
Wow. It's interesting though, isn't it? Because like in our Western culture, there is a habit of burying our rubbish, getting it out of view, but they seem to just keep piling it up. There's no effort to sort of discard it. They just put it in one area.
Actually,
and it's
slightly... It is just put in one area, but it's always away from the village. So that it is discarded at a
But
distance.
it doesn't like wash away with the tide, and it doesn't,
No, I guess not. It's certainly not concealed. It's the landscape at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
And in fact, actually, it becomes part of the landscape, and they start burying people on them. So they find tumuli on these shell mounds. So it started a bit later than our period. They think about the 8th century. They started burying people on the shell middens. So when someone dies...
Imagine what they think when the archaeologists find a dead body. They're like, well, we can just give you a new person.
We have alive people. Why are you doing this? So yeah, some of these shell mounds go back to they've in the Saloum Delta. They've carbon dated back to 400 BC. So that's how long you're going back. So a little bit out of our period, but I'm assuming there were still people there.
Yeah, sure.
So that's one of the things our pelican, who is flying, will see underneath them, this shell midden, small, tiny shell midden, and I think, I wonder what's going to happen to that in 1,000 years' time. And who knows, it'll be a giant network of man-made islands.
Wait, your pelican is thinking this?
Yeah, he's a very smart pelican. Officer! There's been a crime.
Can I help you, madam?
Yes, it's my neighbour. I want him arrested.
Well, what's your neighbour done?
He refuses to separate his shells.
I'm sorry, separate his shells?
He's recycling.
I'm sorry, I'm not following.
Oh, for God's sake. Right, here's the thing. Every night, me and Snuggles go for a walk past the middens, and there he is, plain as day, bold as brass, doing a crime.
Well, what's the crime?
Oh, what are they paying you for? He was mixing his recycling. Cockle shells and oyster shells all mixed together. It's a crime.
Madam, that's not a crime.
It's criminally irresponsible, that's what it is.
What, that sounds like a matter for the council. Have you spoken with them?
Well, they're all a bunch of useless, know-nothing... And I pay their wages.
So you have spoken with the council?
Look, there's been a crime. You've got witnesses. What are you going to do about it?
Witnesses?
Yes, me and Snuggles.
And Snuggles is...
My pet pelican.
Your pet pelican?
Yeah, are you deaf or do you just like the sound of my voice?
I see.
So what are you going to do?
Well, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to write up a penalty notice.
Excellent.
And I'm going to assign the maximum penalty available to me.
Fabulous.
And I'm going to give this to you.
To me?
Yes. Yes, well, this is a fine for being in breach of the Endangered Birds Act 3000 BCE, of which you are in breach and have confessed to an officer of the law. 10,000 cockles fine for ownership of a pet pelican, payable by the end of the month.
But how? We can't...
Don't worry, madam. We'll be responsible and properly recycle the shells.
So we're going to say goodbye to our pelican, and here's our pelican saying goodbye to us.
Okay.
That's it. It's that sort of honking noise was his call. Do you want to hear that again?
Yeah. I mean, if you'd have said that was a hippo, I'd have said yeah.
It's quite whoopee cushionish, isn't it?
Ah.
So yes, goodbye, pelican. So we're going to board a different bird now. We are going to board the Senegalese parrot.
Nice. Air Senegalese parrot.
Right, so this is a bird of the open woodland and the savannah. And this is where we're going. We're headed out. It's a gregarious species. It's always chattering away with some whistling and squawking. So cool. I've got some parrot noises for you. Hang on.
Okay. It's cute. Oh.
See, chirpy and whistly. That's your Senegal parrot noise.
Yeah.
He's happy in the savannah. He's going to come with us. And he lives for about 25 to 30 years in the wild. He's quite a long-lived creature.
That's a really long time.
Yeah, and in captivity, they can go up to 50 years.
Wow. That's almost as old as you.
The eggs are incubated by the female, starting... Jerk. But the eggs are incubated by the female for about 27 days, 28 days. And the hatched chicks don't open their eyes for 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Which strikes me as a flaw, but they're totally dependent on the female for food and warmth. So she stays in the nest.
Yeah.
And her husband fetches out into the world and brings food back to the female and the chicks and guards the site. And he sort of does the fetching and carrying while mum's looking after your little blind chicks. So yeah, off we go. We're flying once again through the landscape. It's dry, it's dusty, it's open. But what's that? It's a tree, a squat, very wide tree, and it is a baobab.
Oh, okay. I've heard of a baobab.
A very famous African tree. A baobab is actually a prehistoric species. So in our Bronze Age, we are definitely looking at baobabs. But not only are they prehistoric as a species, but they're believed to actually live for thousands of years. So it is conceivable that there is an individual tree that is still there today that we could be looking at.
That our parrot 5,000 years ago would have looked at too.
Over and gone, oh, that little seedling looks interesting.
That's amazing.
So
that's so cool.
Right, and these are a really big deal in Senegal.
Hey, maybe our parrot, right, was eating some fruit or something, did a little dropping.
Could have planted it. Could be the one that we're looking at today.
Isn't that lovely? What a lovely thought.
So it's actually the symbol of Senegal, the baobab tree.
Okay.
It's on their coat of arms. It's a baobab tree over a wiggle that represents the Senegal River. It's known as the Tree of Life.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
If it lives that long, why not?
Well, it's also known as the Tree of Life because it holds water in its trunk and bark. Well, actually, it does loads of stuff, but it's got loads of names as well. It's called the monkey bread tree, the upside down tree, and the bottle tree. So that's because it holds this water, this moisture. They can
in like liquid form, like you can cut it and it pours out, or
no, I don't think it's in like a bucket. You just need to squeeze I guess it's like a lot of these things where you have to sort of squeezy pulper.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll accept either.
Okay, good. They have these huge thick trunks. They can have a circumference of 25 meters.
Wow. Okay. Circumference is where it goes all the way around.
All the way
right?
around, yeah. They are consistently in the dry savanna. Because it's quite featureless, they're frequently used by locals as landmarks. So they become quite important in your area because it's actually a landmark tree. Their fruits are these big pods called monkey bread or the cream of tartar fruit. So you can eat the fruit, you can pulp the fruit, you can use oil from the seeds, you can use the shell to make calabashes or jugs essentially. You can harvest the bark, you can make rope out of that. But most popular, you can make a rich vitamin C drink that's kind of sherbet-like, and I have some for you here today.
Nice. Another drink.
Yeah, I know. I'm just treating you with the kind of hospitality you can expect from
it.
the Senegalese. So I did try to get some actual baobab fruit.
Right.
Surprisingly hard to get. Okay. So what we've got here is a powdered version.
Ooh.
Which is, have a little look at that. That's
okay. It's in a little pot. It's got Aduna Baobab. Super fruit powder, rich in vitamin C, high in fiber, 100% organic, wild harvested. On the back it says, discover Aduna Baobab, the 100% organic, nutrient-dense raw fruit that dries naturally on the branch. It's almost 50% fiber. It's an excellent source of vitamin C. Ingredients are organic baobab fruit pulp powder. It's gluten-free, no added sugars, it's raw, it's paleo, and it's vegan according to this. And it contributes to normal energy release, immune function, and skin health. Blend 2 to 4 teaspoons into your favourite smoothie, sprinkle onto porridge, or mix with yogurt.
Yeah, so we've got a natural yogurt here, so hopefully flavour will be able to come through.
Yeah, and it's a very fine powder.
It's like a talcum powder almost, isn't it? It's really, really light.
It's sort of combine it. We just put 2, because we've only got a small bowl here, right? We've put just 2 teaspoons in, not 4. And it's made it very thick.
Yeah, mine's getting a sort of doughy consistency.
Yes, exactly, yeah. Okay, right, so I think I've mixed mine sufficiently. Okay.
All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Let's eat baobab.
Let's do it. All right, cheers.
Here we go. Cheers, mate.
I did not stir that properly and just got a mouthful of powder.
Delicious powder.
Oh, it is sherbety. The yogurt gives it a twangy kick.
I'm going to try some straight powder because all I can taste is yogurt. I can't taste anything at all.
I mean, I'm getting a very mild sherbety flavour.
But I imagine you'd be delighted for it out on the savannah if you came across one.
Sure.
So here's an interesting additional thing about the baobab tree.
Yeah.
So there are 16 trees in Senegal that have been classified as historic monuments. So I was saying they're really, oh dear. You look like you're really struggling there.
I put too much in.
You did. Have you turned it into a sort of claggy mess? Oh yeah, you have. That doesn't look. That's hard going, isn't it?
It's chewy now.
Oh no, you've made a sort of baobab dough yogurt.
Yogurt shouldn't be chewy, mate.
No, that's not good.
Well, I'm gonna neck it. So you tell me more
All right.
facts.
So 16 of these trees are classified as historic monuments by the Ministry of Culture in Senegal. They're kind of a sacred place. And one of the things that they do is they also actually bury celebrated people in them, and specific kind of celebrated people. So there are a type of profession, I suppose you'd call it, which is the griot. And they are these storytellers. They're the keeper of the historical records. You know, I said it was an oral culture. So all of your history is carried around by this storytelling individual, your bard, if you like, who's a griot. And they are buried, the significant ones, in baobab trees.
Wow.
Baobab trees.
How do they do that?
So I guess they just kind of prop them up because the middle can sort of hollow out sometimes as it grows. So it's more like a ring of tree with a hollow middle.
Right.
And one guy, Abdoulaye Gaye, who was a griot from the Surrey community, said, we put griots in baobabs because they're considered sages. They're the ones who reorient the community when there are problems. They're repositories of knowledge. And if they were buried underground, it would be as though we were burying our history. And
Wait. Why are you telling me this after I'm eating baobab?
that was a non-grave baobab.
Okay. I mean, it didn't say that on the tub. Oh, what is this?
Greetings.
Who is that? Who are you?
I am the baobab tree.
Oh, right. Well, I'm Derek.
I'm sorry, Derek, but I'm afraid you are dead.
Oh.
Yes,
Where am I?
you're inside me. As a griot, you have been buried by your people inside of my trunk.
Oh, right.
And now we are joined. Our essence is fused in a spiritual embrace, the ineffable universal dance of consciousness. We are two, yet we are one.
Hey, more than two, mate. What about me?
Yes, I was going to get to that.
Who's that?
I'm Gary. I was a griot like centuries ago, like. I was buried here too. I love to tell stories, me. Well, I'm a griot, is what we do, innit? But you don't need me to tell you that, do I? But me, I just love a story. I've got so many stories for weeks, me. Just love to tell a good tale. Sometimes they say, if anything, I tell too many stories. Like, why don't you shut up, Gary? They say, but it's all for fun, innit? It's just a laugh, innit? With all the lads and all that.
Yes, thank you, Gary. I'm sure Derek will come to enjoy both your stories just as much as I do.
And this is temporary, right?
Oh, yes.
Phew.
Yes, your stay will only last as long as the universe does.
Wait, what?
Yeah, we're gonna be besties forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever, laugh.
And are there any other trees available?
I'm afraid not. You must dwell within the tree in which you were laid to rest.
No.
I am sorry, Derek.
Well, now we've got over the introductions, let's get this party started. How about we all tell a story? I'll go first. So there I was in the Sahara, and I'm like walking along, and there's
I'm so sorry, Derek. So it's a special place, it's a sacred place, and it's a place where you might celebrate something like a birthday. Ryan, as of the transmission of this show, it's your birthday.
Hey!
So I looked into Senegalese birthday traditions, and they don't really celebrate birthdays.
How typical.
However, I felt it would be remiss of me not to in some way mark this important day.
Yeah.
So I have purchased a Senegalese birthday feast for you.
No way.
And brought it today.
For real?
Yeah, we need to heat it up, but I went to a chap called Abdoulaye in a place called Little Baobab,
Right.
unsurprisingly, in Brighton, a restaurant in Brighton.
No way.
They're called Little Baobab. And he kindly cooked us. I've got a few dishes here, and we'll talk about them as we eat them. But he cooked us a birthday meal for you.
Man, that is just amazing.
But
This
yes.
is going to be the best 25th birthday I've ever had.
Yes, and you've had a few. So yeah, I'm going to get the oven on and we'll heat this up and see how it goes.
But, all right, let's do it. Okay, there we are.
All right, here we go. So I've got you 3 dishes here.
Okay.
These are the sort of classic Senegalese cuisine from our friends at La Baobab in Brighton. Do go visit them. They are very helpful. Other Senegalese restaurants are available.
Yeah.
So the first one we're going to do is, I know you don't do fish generally, but I thought you ought to try this because this is considered the national dish, really,
Nice.
of Senegal.
Yep.
It's called, well, if you see it written down, it's thiaboudien,
The Abudian.
but it's pronounced, I believe, Sebrjen. Sebigen.
Okay.
It's a smoked fish, so it's a fish dish, and that's really all I know about it, other than it goes well with a bit of jollof rice.
All right. So we have jollof rice. There's a lot of rice on this plate. There's a lot of sauce. There's mysterious meat. There is chicken meat, which I recognise. And then there's some like mysterious little vegetable things.
And
Cauliflower, I
Sebigen
recognise.
has these vegetables. It's got a carrot, which I also recognise.
I'm kind of tempted for the carrot first.
There's kind of plum-looking thing.
I'm going for the fish first.
All right, he's done it. He's eaten the fish.
Yeah.
You're not allergic to something, are you? I'm not going to rush you to the emergency room.
No, I'm hugely allergic to fish. Okay. So this is all very tasty. Going for a bit of chicken.
Well, let me talk to you about the chicken then.
Okay.
Chicken is a yassa chicken. I think a lot of these you can find in West Africa generally, but with some regional variations. But this is a tender chicken with a lot of onions, basically, a lot of caramelised onions.
I noticed the onions on top when I was cooking it. There's some mystery vegetables in my fish dish. Any idea what it is? There's a green one. They look like giant olives, but inside they're soft like a tomato and they've got seeds like a tomato.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
I'm going to dish 3.
Dish 3, right. Dish 3 is mafe.
It looks like a curry.
It's kind of more of a stew.
Okay.
This can be made with loads of different meats. It's a meat thing.
There's dark meat. I've just cut through it and it's it looks like a
Like a meat and vegetable stew.
goat or something maybe.
So you'll find peanuts in the food quite frequently. It's a major crop, so I think this is a peanutty stew.
I can taste the peanut.
Oh no, I can taste it. So there we go. Mafe, yassa chicken, and sebigen.
I am enjoying all of this. This is delicious. What a lovely birthday treat. Oh, to be 18.
On your actual birthday, you'll just have to listen to yourself enjoying your birthday meal.
I'm glad you got more than one dish. It's nice to try different things.
Yeah, I think these are fairly representative of Senegalese food. They're the things that kept coming up when I was doing my research.
I tell you what though, cauliflower looks like a baobab tree. Cauliflower floret. Done. Finished. Plate clean. Bosh.
So yeah, big thanks to Chef Abdoulaye.
Oh, is that his name? The guy who cooked this? Chef Abdoulaye. I'll tell you what, dude can cook.
So I did try and find somebody to sing Happy Birthday to in Wolof, but
Nice.
I failed miserably, unfortunately.
Okay.
Well, there we have it.
I'm gonna wash that down with some hibiscus.
A little bit of hibiscus for a final Senegalese flavour.
Oh, delicious.
And final it is, for that brings us, Ryan, to the end of our trip to Flight in Senegal. From 3000 BC to 1300 BC, the Bronze Age that never happened.
Right, well, Pete, again, well done. That is a lot to cover off, and some really interesting stuff there. I'm fascinated. I absolutely adore Senegal.
I did too. I have to say, again, it was one of those ones where you come away from it thinking, yeah, I want to go check that out.
Check out Senegal.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's go check out Senegal with its weird Gambia resident.
It's a little stuck in the middle, a little cut of Gambia sticking in the middle.
Yeah, so strange. Right, you know what that means?
It's time to desolate.
It's time to do the desolation. That's the song.
Is it?
Yeah, I've just come up with that.
Could we maybe confer on that before?
Nope.
It's
That's
done.
it now.
It's time to
Do the desolation. There you go. All right.
Okay, well, I'm going to press the button.
Well, yeah, you've got to do it.
Hang on, I'm coming round.
Okay.
Right,
Right, when you are ready,
I'm
Peter,
ready. Okay, so your
give me my task.
your country is wild card.
Ooh. For those people unfamiliar, the wild card is our default card, which allows me to select a country of my own choice
Within a minute.
within 1 minute.
Okay, but your time starts after we've established the other items.
Okay, so give me a time.
Time period is Wright brothers to Concord. So that's a time period of 1903 to 1976. Ooh,
Okay, I'm
a lot
all right
of
with that.
potential there. Okay, and are you ready for your topic?
I am ready for my topic.
And your topic is
Yeah.
Curiosity Killed the Cat.
Oh.
So there you have it.
So, okay, so...
Curiosity killed the cat?
No, we don't have it.
Oh, well, no, we do. I'm about to put the pressure on. I'm not
Oh,
giving you time
okay.
to think. Curiosity Killed the Cat. The Wright brothers to Concord. You've got 1 minute, starting now.
Okay.
I want to try and put you off by saying things in your ear while you're
yeah.
trying to think.
I wish we had a map. Why don't we get a map on the wall? And then I could pick from the map.
That would make things too easy.
Greenland.
Greenland.
Yeah, well, I did
Wild card
Canada.
is selected.
I did Canada before as a wild card.
Right.
Now I'm going to do Greenland.
I'm not sure I see the connection.
They're near each other.
Okay, right. Okay, Greenland. All right, your country is Greenland. Your time period is the Wright brothers to Concord.
Okay, and curiosity killed the cat.
Curiosity killed the cat. I look forward to seeing what you come up with.
Yeah, me too. I wonder what there was. I mean, it's a modern period, right? 1903 to 1976. Something was happening in Greenland.
You got to find something, I'm sure of it.
I'm curious to find out.
Like a cat.
Well, you know what happened, though, to that cat? Got in all sorts of trouble. Well, look, once again, Peter, this was fabulous. What a lovely treat. Thank you so much for all the time and effort that you went into for doing this episode. Yeah, no, thank you. I am going to read now from our script.
Okay, go. Please
I know
proceed.
people might not know that we read this from a script.
You might think we just naturally say the exact same thing each week. Just because we are like automata.
Yeah, but look, listen.
Script, yeah.
People say to me, that can't possibly be a script. It's
So natural.
It sounds... Yeah. Okay, that's our show for this week. Thank you very much for listening.
So fluid. It's like you wouldn't
It's
believe
weird,
you
right?
was reading it.
I am literally reading this off the page.
Incredible. You're so talented.
Yeah. Now, if you would like to get in touch, you can do that. And you can do that through email, which is, Peter?
hhepodcast@gmail.com.
We have social media. Peter?
At hhepodcast.
We'd love to hear from you. And you never know, if you get in touch with us, we might put you on one of the shows. Not
And-
like as a host,
No,
but like
I
we
mean-
might reference the fact that you'd got in touch.
We'll talk about you. We'll say something.
Yeah, say something nice.
We'll definitely say something nice if you give us a review on Apple Podcast. Give us a review there. It really helps us, helps people find us, and Apple thinks we're good and tells other people about us.
That's right. And in the meantime, come back to us in a week's time, because in your little podcasty holder, you'll find an episode of The Verdict.
The verdict.
What is The Verdict, Pete?
Verdict is where our good friend Paul Dursley, a highly educated, knowledgeable individual, reviews the previous show and tells us all the many ways in which we are idiots.
And don't forget, we also have a large archive of our old shows, which you can go back and have a listen to. Many different places, many different time periods, many interesting fun facts for you to share with your friends.
So that's all the admin taken care of,
No, not quite.
isn't it?
There's one more thing.
Is there?
Yes, we have a Dersolator.
Oh, we do. If you fancy having a little play at History Happening Everywhere in your house, you can visit hhepodcast.com and go to the section entitled Dersolator.
And there you will find a very funky, cool-looking Dersolator machine. We had to give it a scrape and a polish, didn't we? Because the one that we actually use is...
pretty raw. No, it's rather good. You can go in there and derslate yourself a topic and play a bit of History Happened Everywhere at home.
And if you do, let us know what ones you've done, if you find any interesting facts about time periods throughout time.
And beyond.
Indeed. And that's it. So, I guess all that's left to say is...
You've been listening to...
History happened everywhere.